Hey guys, I want to welcome you to my live tonight. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good Monday. It's a nice stormy evening here in Missouri tonight. So hope everything goes well during this live. We are at a thunderstorm warning. Welcome, welcome. Everybody give a thumbs up and I appreciate it. Let's see here. Yeah, the rain is coming down. It just started here. So as everybody can tell by the description tonight, we're going over overcoming camping fears. So I hear a lot of people talking about it. Kind of goes hand in hand with what we've talked about in the past on these lives. Um, Everybody kind of knows the rules. I'm not going to repeat them in the room. So just keep everything clean, as we always say in our lives, and be respectful of one another. But yeah, there's a link up in the comment section here if anybody wants to come in and add any questions or any share any stories or anything or any concerns of theirs. They're more than welcome to do that. But I appreciate everybody stopping by and giving their time tonight. I think this is going to be a fun time. Giving everybody a few more minutes to get in here before we jump right in. But yeah, I think it's a pretty important topic because there's a lot of people, even if you've been a camper for a long time, there's certain scenarios that can come up that can cause you to have an anxiety or a bad experience that might um, hinder you from wanting to go camping again or hiking or anything outdoors for that matter, fishing, hunting. It's kind of universal, I believe. A lot of people are scared to do a lot of different things outside. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good topic to go over. I'm sure people's hit it a few times here or there. And I know, like I said, we've highlighted a few things talking about camping in general, but a lot of it's common sense. But that's where I want you guys to come in and comment and add suggestions that I've kind of just got an outline, hit or miss. Of course, it's not doesn't include everything. There's a lot of things on the live last week that people added that was really really important information that I love having the comments, people adding ideas of things that you don't think about. It's really good. So overcoming camping fears. For me, when I started out very young camping. Um, so, of course, when you're young, you always go with your brothers or your family or something. But it's one of the things that hold people back from enjoying nature, and it's a shame because I hear my brothers say, "Well, I can't do that. I'm too scared to do that. I don't know how you go out in the woods." Well, obviously, the first time you go camping shouldn't be in the woods by yourself. You can go with somebody else, or you can go car camping for your first time. Um, I always suggest go with somebody else. Like the locations I go and hike in and camp, go with somebody like me or somebody that's frequents that area and get used to that area, the sounds in that area, the animals in the area. You need to do your homework on those things. So I guess Ken's in here. How you doing, Ken? Didn't say hi to everybody. Matt, Ozarks Woodsman, you're here. How you doing tonight, brother? Randy, it's good to see you, brother. Ashley, it's always good to see you, honey. Let's see here. Hey, Matt. Two guys in the Ozarks. Glad to see you in here, brother. Yeah, I know you're late. You just got through having a tornado warning down there in Arkansas. I noticed. That's pretty. You got hit pretty hard there a while ago. Hi, Adam. Welcome in tonight, brother. Good to see you guys. Yeah, it's weather's bad tonight, so good Lord willing, we can push through this and hopefully the power don't go out, but we'll see. We'll take it as it comes. Yeah. So to get back in, the common fears, I believe, obviously it's the wildlife encounters for some people, the thought of being alone, and the lack of amenities. But kind of being alone, that's what I said earlier about, of course you're not going to want to go hiking in remote primitive camping by yourself for the first time. I always recommend people go, like we said in the past, to a campground, car camping, especially if it's your first time ever camping. You need to get used to the sounds. You need to, you need to do your homework on what kind of wildlife is in your area. If you have bears, if you have mountain lions, if you have any big predators, that would be a problem. But for mostly, if you're smart where you camp, and you're smart with your food, you're really not going to have to worry about a lot of animals. People's what I fear the most. Yeah, Randy, that's one of the things I was going to add to the list. Number one is people. That's, and sadly enough, it's true. You don't know, even in a established campground, people's what makes the most noise, and they're the most nuisance most of the time. Loud music, loud vehicles, talking late at night, drinking, um, you know, animals can't do all those things. So, it's one of those things I would have to agree with you 100%. People, and that's why I like going remotely. Not that I don't mind going into campground. I like campgrounds too, especially in the summer when the ticks are bad. You don't want to bushwhack in and, you know, deal with all the underbrush here in Missouri. It's bad. Let me see here. I got a guest coming in. Looks like Randy's coming in. Add you to the stage here, brother. Hey,
What's
welcome
up?
tonight, Randy.
Hey, I ain't gonna stay on here long. I mean, I'm gonna stay in chat,
I
but not
can't
on this
hear you.
part. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you again. See if I can get you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, brother.
Okay. So I
Sweet.
said I wasn't gonna stay here quite for very long. What'd you say?
Oh, I was just trying to get my sound working again. I don't know why I couldn't hear you, but I can hear you now. So, yeah, it
All
works
right.
pretty good.
So what I was talking about, I'll give you an example. Yesterday I wanted to do a fishing live, but I wanted to do it in a different place than I've been doing it. So I went down to this other little town, and I went down by the lake. It's been flooded out there, and there was a few people there. Well, all these people got on a boat and left, and that only left two other guys that were there. And I don't want to be too judgmental, but they were very scary looking. That's
Yeah.
what I'll say. And they became really suspicious. Like um, they were speaking a different language, so I couldn't tell what they were saying. But they were looking over at me, and they were like talking amongst themselves, and they would kind of get behind a tree and look around the tree and talk a little bit more. And I was the only one around at that point. And so that was enough for me to just go ahead and pack it up and put it in my truck and go. And I just went back to my old spot. But that's kind of stuff that scares me the most when I'm out camping somewhere.
Yeah.
And like nomadic camping the other day, showed a video. I think it was nomadic. Couple of them. One of them was this person just kept walking by his camp real slow.
Yeah.
A little bit later, he'd walk back by again, real slow, looking at him, and that just
Yeah.
kept happening. And he was way out in the woods, and that guy was coming from nowhere. So that kind of stuff there just freaks me out, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what I fear the most.
Yeah, and that's what I say, being prepared, knowing the area, and having some kind of defense. If you're an outdoorsman or some kind, you're going to have at least a knife on you, or like we talked before, bear spray or pepper spray or something like that. If you don't like other forms of protection, you know,
Right.
at the bare minimum, have something like that. It's a shame. It's a shame that we got to fear our fellow man. But I mean, like you say, that's my biggest fear. Number one is people. Um,
Yeah.
you fear leaving your campsite for somebody to stumble across that and steal things. It's not just of your safety; it's of your personal belongings.
Yeah. And, like everybody says, have protection. And I agree with that. Have all the protection you can have.
Yep.
But I'm always the glass half empty person. And so when somebody says that, my mind's thinking, okay, well, they might be thinking the same thing. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's just a matter, if they're sneaking up on me, they're going to have their protection out faster than I am.
Yeah.
So,
Odds are they will, and but I mean, it's just part of it,
yeah,
it, being prepared is learning how to protect yourself and self-defense classes, if nothing else too. I mean, and there's a million different ways that you can be prepared, but best thing is go in with a positive attitude and just stay with it, and because I know a lot of people talk themselves out, like you say, of doing things or going through with it. But when you come across situations like you said, with those guys watching you, well,
yeah,
you got to take yourself out of that situation.
yeah. Either that or just be sure and take Ozark's Woodsman with you every time.
Yeah, yeah, he'll be a good bodyguard for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
Anyway,
Ken. Yeah, Ken's got a few things. He said he's got driving to get ice cream with the family. Well, enjoy that ice cream, Ken. That sounds great. Let's see here. Matt says, two guys in the Ozarks says, people are the scariest thing in the woods for sure. For sure.
mhm,
If I believed in Bigfoot, that would be the next thing. But
yeah,
uh, let's see
Bigfoot don't
here.
really scare me.
Yeah, me neither. Adam says action is quicker than reaction for sure. That is for sure. Yeah. Let's see
Well, I
here.
can't run like I used to. I know that.
Yeah, I definitely can't anymore either. So
That was
odds
usually my
are,
best defense.
I don't know if you're scared though. Even with all the aches and pains, you'd be surprised how fast you can move.
Yeah.
Yeah, Woodsman's
Mhm.
give us a good emoji on laughing about being our bodyguard. Yeah, I think we ought to just take Woodsman with us and we'd be a okay.
Yep. He just don't wake up. The problem. We had hoodlums in our camp at that last one, and he slept right through it.
Yep, yep. Well, he wasn't on the payroll at that point.
That's true.
uh, Matt, two guys in the Ozark says animals agree with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's this a shame though, really. I mean that we've got to fear, but I just put that in my mind. A lot of times, I'm probably not. I'm pretty mindful of my surroundings, but um, I am. I have protection, so I do the best I can do. Like I said, I think one of my next camps going to be in a camping area or campground, more primitive probably, but still, I've got higher chances of seeing somebody or being around other people. So it's always on my mind. I always try to get far as away as I can in a campground, even if I am in one.
You know, my readers ain't working. Uh, One other thing, now that you're talking about nomadic camping, I believe it's him. Another thing that he has done on several of his videos, I thought, man, that's a pretty good idea. He always takes one or two extra chairs with him and sets them out in front of his tent to where it looks like there's several people camping there
Yeah,
instead of just one. And I
yeah,
thought that's a pretty good idea.
yeah. I thought about commenting on his videos and saying he had to get him a couple mannequins and put in the
Yep.
chairs. But yeah, that would be awesome. Matt says he loves primitive camping. Yeah, that's my favorite for sure. Get off grid. Not to mention get primitive camping and getting out away from everything is you don't hear the road noise and I mean you can't get away from the plains anymore, but
Yeah,
just
that's
getting
true.
just getting closer to nature. I mean, but just getting into a campground, like I said, starting off, most people need to go to a campground and do car camping or tent camping and get comfortable with the outdoors before they even think about doing a solo camp.
Yeah. Or another thing you can do, it's what I've done for ever since I've started my channel. Most of the time, my favorite place to camp is at Johnny's property, my boss.
Yeah.
And one reason is I'm familiar with the place. There's trees everywhere. I love his dogs. His dogs like to camp with me. But it's also on just 20 acres, and his house is right there. If there was any trouble, I could probably just, if I screamed to the top of my lungs, he might would hear me.
Yeah.
You know. But I just feel so. If you know somebody's got like 2 acres of land,
Yep.
or something, just go camp by yourself on the land, and then just get it a little bigger and a little bigger until you're able to go out into the big woods like you do. Because I won't
Yeah.
even go out to the big woods like you do unless I'm with you or somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, and some people just won't ever get over that, but the people that just don't know, but I would I would highly suggest not to go out like I do for your very first time. I mean, you may have a bad experience, like that bobcat that was screaming, or fox. I mean, somebody's never heard any of that. I mean, that would, and that goes along with that saying being said, with that scaring somebody. Movies don't help things out. People's bad stories, they always hear horror stories, and it scares
Yeah,
them. 99% of the times, the sounds you hear out in the woods are harmless animals, but sometimes those animals make noise. You could be out there all your life, and like that bobcat made that sound. I would have never guessed it to be a bobcat. I've heard many bobcat, and I've never heard one make a sound like that. So it just goes to show you, no matter how much you've been out there, there's sounds sometimes you hear that you don't know what the heck they are. We
yeah,
lost your we lost your camera. Did you turn the camera off? But
yeah.
yeah, Matt from Two Guys in Ozark says you can also get a second tent and put up. I never really thought of that. That's a good idea too, with the chairs. Look like there's multiple people in camp, because they wouldn't know if somebody's laying down taking a nap or whatever. That's a good idea, Matt. But some of the practical strategies, I think for people to learn to develop a sense of preparedness is learning the basic survival skills. Obviously packing your essential gear. All of that will help ease your mind and give you peace. If you're prepared when you go out to camp, um, you're not going to be stressed out. I mean, stress is a huge killer. We
Yeah, it
all
is.
know that. I mean, it's made you decide not to camp or whatever. I mean, I like being over prepared. It's kind of like I know Woodsman said before. You always take more than you need. If you don't think you're going to need that tarp, bring it anyways. I think you don't want your first experience camping, obviously, to be a tragedy, or you probably won't ever go again. Um,
May
but
not be able to go again.
I mean, it's everything. Don't go out and try to cook a 5-course meal if you've never cooked anything out camping. Take things that are very simple and easy. Bring things that are backup in case you forget your gas for your gas stove, or if you don't have wood to cook on, or there's so many things. Especially if you have kids along with you, you need to make it as fun as possible, and bring games and stuff that you can play and keep their attention, and fishing and hiking, and um, that's part of being prepared, in my opinion, for camping. No matter what level experience you have, um,
Yeah,
it's got to be a good time for everybody, or your kids won't want to go anymore, or your spouse won't want to go with you, or if you get a buddy from work like you've done, if you go out camping with them, it's I figure it's the most experienced person's responsibility to try to make it the best experience for that person,
yeah,
because like you said, taking your uh, coworkers with you, I mean, you want them to have a good time, so they'll go out themselves and venture out and enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah. Speaking of
Um,
that, I did a deal yesterday with a coworker. He'll be coming out next Sunday.
oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he's another one. We
Yeah,
had a good
it'll
time.
be it'll be good. Kind of going off of that preparedness is the mental side of that preparedness. I think is important too because that's what psychs most people out. Is you'll talk yourself out
Hmm.
of it. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked myself out of doing things. You're your worst enemy. I feel being mindful and positive self talk to yourself, actually visualizing, you know, of what how everything's going to go together. Like I've talked before, especially if you never put a tent together or anything, you're not a YouTuber. You're just going out to camp because you're not wanting to show somebody how to put the tent up. Put the tent up in your yard. Get familiar with the equipment so you're not so overly frustrated once you get to the campground that you're so mad and you're ready to go home before you even get your camp set up. That mental side of it, I think, is just as important.
That and to go right along with that, especially wintertime, you got to make sure you get out there early enough to get things done before dark because it gets
Yeah,
dark fast.
yeah, and that's being part of prepared. I mean, you've got YouTube as an awesome tool. You know, um, get your checklist down if you have to write it down or put it on your phone, and all the equipment you need. Headlamp, like you say, because that's hands free setup. Even if you are behind and it gets dark, you still have good lighting to be able to finish setting up your camp. Have plenty of
Yep.
lighting. Have plenty of things that you know home comforts. Bring your comforter and your pillow from your bed. I mean, things that are comfortable to your kids. They're stuffed animals that they sleep with.
Yep.
Everything
Your
that you're
dog.
comfortable with at home, car camping you can bring with you. So you might as well, starting off, you might as well be comfortable.
Dog. If you have a dog, they're really good to camp with.
Yeah, and that's a good security and defense addition to your you know gear. I mean, because the dog's going to alert you if anything comes into camp, animal or human. So I mean,
Hmm.
um, it's a good protection for sure. And I don't know. I would say just as much as being a new camper as an experienced camper, talking about utilizing technology as part of your preparedness or uh, GPS tracking for family, let them know where you're at, give them the campground information, have your phone number on their Life 360 app on your phone, um, whatever you have. I mean, a new camper probably isn't going to have a Garmin inReach, but at least have some means of emergency communication, especially for your first time. I would highly recommend that for sure because, I mean, a million things that could go wrong. I even tell people for your first camp, I wouldn't even try to cook on a fire because, especially if you have kids, you have an animal or something that's not used to being around a fire. If somebody gets burned, that's going to be a huge tragedy right there. Get you a stove, camp stove, or something that makes it easier. Or even your first camp, don't cook anything at all so you don't have tragedy. Stop at Subway, stop at Walmart, get prepared pre-made foods or make something at home, even sandwiches, stuff that you don't have to cook. Um, you know, it's if you haven't cooked outside for the first time, for some people, it's just they don't know how to put the gas canister on the stove. They don't know how to start a fire real good. And I mean, a million things that can frustrate you.
Hmm.
Man, this thing's looks like it's freezing once in a while, but you just it looks like you're in deep thought sometimes. Let's see here. Making sure I don't miss any comments. Nope, good on
You know,
comments here, but
I'm freezing.
No, I thought you were, but you were just still for a
Oh,
second. I thought sometimes it was
oh,
freezing. It was glitching a little bit because of the storm, I think, too.
yeah. I'm gonna get me a
But
refill real quick.
okay, everybody can put in the comments what their experiences are and suggestions on things. I mean, it's just so many things. Um, I want people, if one person watches this video and we can encourage them to get out and enjoy the nature and enjoy what God's given us. I mean, it's a win. I mean, I just hate when people say they're scared to get out. I mean, and another thing I thought of, I see a lot of YouTubers and I myself and Matt, we like game cameras. Well, that's a really good thing is if you're really paranoid about animals, if you're going to go out to a campground, obviously you're not going to be able to do it in a public property area, but especially if you had an area of private land, like you said, that you get permission to go on, go out and put your game cameras out there and see what kind of animals are out there so you know that there's nothing to be afraid of to go out there. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
Being surrounded by other people give people a sense of security, but like you said, I mean, when you got people nosing around or eyeballing you or you don't know. Just like a tent or hammock, whatever you use to go camping, they're really all false sense of security because it's just a
yeah,
piece of fabric,
yeah. It's kind of
and
like those kids that I think even Tony was talking about it yesterday on his live. Like those little kids when they're little, they cover their eyes and they think that you can't see them because they're covering their eyes.
yeah,
That's kind of
yeah,
how it is. I mean, I feel so much more secure in a little bitty tent than to just be laying out in the open. But it's just a little bitty tiny piece of material.
yeah.
It ain't gonna protect me from anything, you know?
Nope, especially a bear.
Yeah.
Woodsman says you can look into portable motion sensor alarm systems for campsites. Yeah, but that's kind of why I'm trying to get people to not be so paranoid. I mean, nowadays it's worse than it ever has been for to worry about people. I hate to say, but I mean, yeah, there's other things like those sensors and other things you can do, but um, it'd be nice to get permission from private property or like you said or something that you can get and go on. But most people have access to public campgrounds, so um, it
Yeah.
is.
Now I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
that's another good one. When my kids were little, we always went to my favorite place to go was, it wasn't a state park, but it's kind of like a state park. And they had rangers there that they went through, or camp staff, all night long. They would drive around all night long,
Mhm.
checking all the camps, making sure everybody was obeying the rules, that everybody was secure and safe. And I really enjoyed that with my kids. It made me
Yeah,
feel a whole lot safer than just going down and camping on the side of the lake where everybody's partying and you never know
yep.
what's going to happen, you know?
That
So
is
you can
one
stay
good
out that
thing.
way.
Yep, that is one good thing about state parks and national parks is usually the game wardens or you know, will drive through the campsite. If you're in a good private campground and the camp host, if they're good hosts, they will drive through too, but not always. But usually in state parks and national forests, for sure,
Yeah.
rangers usually drive through, which is a good sense of security for you as well.
Yep. What were you smiling about?
Oh, Woodsman was saying, "Wait, you mean to tell me covering your eyes doesn't work? Dang it!"
I was just
uh,
kidding with them, and it does work.
yeah, it might make you feel better about it for a second, maybe. Matt from Two Guys in the Ozark says, "Learn about the animals where you're camping." Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's kind of what we was talking about earlier. It's a real good idea. Mating season habits. etc. Yeah, and not set your tent up in a game trail. When my kids were real little, their first actual camp out was disaster city for me big time. Which, in my defense, I looked at the weather and there was not. It was a pop up storm. It ended up being a tornado. We ended up putting the tent up. I didn't see the small game trail that I put the tent up. So we had armadillos in the middle of the night running into the side of the tent because we was in the game trail. We had a tornado. I figured my kids would never want to go camping again, but they still remember it to this day. They said that was the best camping trip they ever went on.
Yeah, that would have been
So,
exciting.
yeah, no, it was for dad. I was more scared than they were, but I wasn't going to tell them that.
Yeah.
I said, we could retreat to the car. There's no shame in it. If you're too scared, they're like, Dad, we're not scared.
And you're like, please be scared.
Yep. Yep. Hi, Heather. Welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I
Hey,
just take
Heather.
my hubby with me. LOL. Heather said. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why my wife says, because she says she wouldn't go by herself either. So she'd push me in front of the bear. uh, that that's awesome. We all have good, stories. I always try to think of the good stories to tell people that want to start camping, because work's a big place that you run into people that always say that they like to camp. You
Yeah.
know, kind of touching on the mental being prepared, and confidence goes with experience, like you said. Just start small, or go to where you're familiar, private property, whatever. But like I said, it begins with car camping. Then, like we talked about, move to more remote locations later on down the road. But even a remote location, I would take somebody with you for your first time, even if you feel confident in those areas, because you may freak out. You may hear something or something happens that you just lose your mind and leave half your equipment out in the woods and take off running. I don't know. You see all the I hate to see it here on YouTube, but I see all these fearful videos that people put out. There's thousands of them. Worst
Trying to get
camping
views.
experience ever, and I'm sure you've seen them too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trying to get views.
yeah, well, that's it. And you watch the whole video, and there's nothing remotely scary on the video. It's just clickbait.
Yeah.
Like, just like people putting the word Bigfoot in their videos. Most people use that just to get views, and it
Yeah.
works. Um, UFOs, aliens, any of that. If you put that in your description, you're going to get more views naturally, because people are drawn to those things.
Yeah.
But it also adds fear, because if people are talking about those things and they watch the movies and all these things that aren't real, well, they're not going to want to go in the woods and go camping because they think those things are real. It's just a scare tactic for most people.
Yeah. I mean, there are some scary times,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's just what you were saying.
Well, noise, trees breaking, limbs falling and crashing. People think, oh, I heard a tree knock. Well, limbs fall all the time in the woods, and trees crack, and rocks tumble down hills and slides, and uh,
Yeah.
it's
Your
just,
mind can sure make up a lot of things though when you're hearing stuff like that.
and that's what it is. Overactive mind. It's definitely gonna cause you to fear things that don't really exist. See here, Heather says you get a lot of city people who have never camped, going out and it's going out and scared. I can't see all the comment of everything. Yes, Heather, that's for sure. Yep. And I don't want to just say city slickers, but it just depends on if you've been raised in the country or not. Just because you're raised in the country doesn't mean that you've camped and you're acclimated to all the sounds. But I mean, that also goes back to what Woodsman, or not Woodsman, but two guys said about learning the animals in your area, and be good to know what sounds they all make. Screech owls are kind of scary for your first time hearing them. Bobcats, fox, all those things are super terrifying for somebody that's never heard them before. Welcome in, Den. I appreciate you stopping in. Jump in the conversation if you like. We're just discussing, obviously, the overcoming camping fears. We're kind of at the, I was getting ready to start what kind of community support you could get. I mean, if you don't have friends that are outdoorsmen and you want to get into it, there's hiking, camping groups. You can attend camping workshops or type things like that and connect with fellow campers. I mean, even if you don't have a lot of friends, I mean, there's communities online, especially now that we have online, that you can connect with other outdoorsmen and camp. There's a
I think
lot
that's
of
been my
do what?
favorite thing about YouTube is
Yeah,
all the new people I've met that just like family,
yep. Well, I mean, you get so many good ideas. I mean, I go back and watch these lives, and especially when you're hosting your own live, if you go back, it sounds funny, but if you go back to watch your own live, I wish you could see all the comments still. I really wish you could see all the comments, but just you miss some of the stuff. It sounds weird, but I miss even some of my own conversation or whatever. I don't pick up on it as much or something when I'm talking to somebody through the comments, but there's so many good ideas that you just like, wow, I didn't even think of that. So
you know, I can't see comments in here.
yeah, I can barely on my phone. That's why I'm fiddling a lot of times. I have my tablet so I can see the comments better, but on the phone, it's almost non-existent. Adam says, oh wait, Heather says, but I never listened to him. Let's see here. Adam says, I met you guys through Minnesota Mike. Hey guys. Hey Tony,
And
nice to see you
leave
in
it to
here.
my
Appreciate you coming in, Tony, and stopping by. Yeah, Minnesota Mike's a good guy. I'm glad we met you, Adam. It was a good group of guys at such a good community, and Tony can totally vouch for that. We have a really good community of people here. I'm really looking forward to Tony's meetup at Knoebels this Saturday, the 24th,
yeah, me
at
too.
Pavilion C in Ellisburg,
We're going together.
Pennsylvania. Yep, we're going together. Yeah, I hope so. I hope you don't kick me out on the way.
I was
Yeah,
telling them,
yep. I'm really looking forward to it, and that's a good place for new campers that's never camped to go to, like this meetup. Perfect place to go and get encouraged, get ideas, meet outdoors um, people on YouTube of all types, fishing. There'll be hunting people there. There'll be camping, bushcraft. This meetup is a great opportunity for new campers, especially to get really good ideas and encouragement. Yeah,
it is far away. I know that'd be hard for a lot of people, but
yeah,
I
and,
usually
and it,
couldn't do something like that.
yeah, yeah, and it's glad that we can go together and help each other get there easier. If I wouldn't be opposed, if we knew somebody that wanted to get into camping to drag them with us and encourage them to go with us, for stuff
Put
like
them in the
this.
trunk.
Yeah, like we're gonna have enough room with all of our gear.
I don't know. I mean, because we're going to be in a Kia that's about this big.
Yeah. Yep. Won't be able to stick a sheet of paper in there after we get our stuff in there, probably.
Yeah. I've already got, I'd say at least half my stuff packed, ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. I started today. Actually, I'm a little behind, but I got it all figured out. So Tony says, very good community. Looking forward to seeing you both. We're looking forward to seeing you too, Tony, and all the other good creators. A lot of good people are going to be there. A lot of actually a lot of the YouTubers that I watch and have wanted to meet is going to be there. So it's a really good
Yeah,
opportunity for everybody to meet each other and talk camping and whatever we want to do. It's going to be a good time.
yeah. The only two I know for sure is Tony and Nolan from Mission Discover.
Yep, Mission Discover, Hammock
Yeah.
Mountain's gonna be there. Sean from Rewild Outdoors gonna be there.
Okay, I know
Um,
that one.
yeah, Camping with Champion, Todd's gonna be there. There's gonna be a lot of people there.
Man,
I
should be
don't have the
fun.
list written down like Tony does, but yeah, just watch that last live of Tony's. He went through a pretty good sized list of people that are gonna be there, but there's gonna be so many people there that you don't know about. You know, there's going to be a lot of subscribers and uh, content creators, and I'm hoping there'll be some surprises that show up there that aren't announcing they're going to be there, which will be really cool.
Yeah. Do you have a bunch of stickers to take with you?
Yeah, I do. Yep. Adam says when I came down there with Mike, we had to try to find a place for my stuff in his car. uh, yeah. We can all have a tendency to pack a little too much, I'm afraid. But like I said, that goes hand in hand with overcoming those camping fears is being over prepared. But when one person's over prepared, it's bad when two are over prepared.
You know who they reminded me of?
Who?
Those two reminded me of male version of Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. I can't imagine what we'll look like driving out there.
Yeah.
uh, Two guys says that's in PA. Yep, Pennsylvania. Yep. We're looking forward to 16 plus hours. Well, that's if you didn't stop. It'll be over 16 hours. But
Yeah.
if we're,
I bet it'll be well over 17.
yeah, by the time you stop, go to the bathroom, or you need to get something or just stretch, I mean, yeah, I mean, no sense in hurrying. I'm glad we're leaving a little early so we're not rushed. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
But kind of going off with the recap and you're kind of building off the confidence. I mean, embrace the unknown and celebrate success. I mean, even when I go out to a new area, I like to scout it before I actually camp there, just so I know the terrain, I know the area. You get signs of wildlife, what kind of wildlife's there from the scat, the game trails, that type of stuff. But just focus on the positive aspects of camping and learning from those challenges, of the unknown. I think is a real important key for those people. I know we're hitting mostly on new campers, but it goes people that aren't just necessarily new campers, that people that only have ever camped in campgrounds or stuff like that that want to
Hmm.
get into uh, ultralight backpacking or what have you, or more primitive camping. Um, they're going to have a rude awakening because there's not all those same sounds and experiences in campgrounds that there are out in the national forest. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I would definitely suggest that you hike in anywhere that you're going to go to camp and drive to the campgrounds and get familiar with the campgrounds. There's no reason why you can't do that.
And be careful about what you read about where you're going, because if you read like where you go camping, the Mark Twain National Forest,
Yeah.
you try to look that up, and all you read about is Bigfoot sightings here, Bigfoot sightings that. I mean, just reading that stuff will scare you to death.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Tony just said, yes, definitely do recon on to going before going. Yeah, for sure. Because, and that's why I kind of hit on the scare tactic. So many people are fearful, so they want other people to be fearful. So that's why they post those things online because I had a Bigfoot encounter. Da, da, da. Well, where's your proof of Bigfoot encounter? Everybody has a phone in your hand 24/7. Why isn't there
Yep.
pictures of Bigfoot? I'm not going to argue whether there's Bigfoot or not. It's just a matter of fact. It could have been a bear. It could have been a deranged lunatic out there. I mean, not. I'm just not picking on Bigfoot, but I mean, we all have phones in our hands. That's a good deterrent right there. That somebody sees a phone in your hand. Of course, the animal's not going to care if your phone's in your hand, but you know,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that you just got to overcome and get out there and go with somebody, have a good buddy take you out and go. Tony says, "Hey guys, I've got to get going. I got to pack my backpack to get ready to do a camp." That's right, Tony. You're going to do squeeze in a camp before your meetup. So looking forward to that video. Appreciate you stopping by, brother.
See you in a couple days, man.
Yeah, it'll be here sooner than we know. Yep, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Be safe out there, Tony. God bless you. All right. So, I mean, kind of highlighting or recapping what we've kind of went over already. Of the, my biggest thing is importance of being prepared is would probably be my top thing to make your camping experience to relieve some of those fears, so you're not fearful of not having something or being mentally stressed out when you do get there and it all goes wrong. Just being prepared, number one, and community support. That's um, could be your friend. It could be whatever. But I mean, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
Yeah. Actually, I was kind of off in my own world thinking about the Pennsylvania thing, trying
I
to
mean, my
prepare my
biggest,
mind.
yeah. God bless you too, Tony. Yeah, it's biggest thing is encouraging. If there's anybody watching tonight that is discouraged or fearful of doing it, just take that first step, whatever that means to you. Sharing. If you don't have the gear you need, ask a buddy that that camps. We're all willing to share our gear and to tell encouraging stories or share camping experiences that are encouraging to them to get out and go. Uh, I think going along with that is sharing your camping areas that are really
Hmm.
great that you have good experiences from that would make a good first camp spot for that person.
People have mentioned this before. I know two guys has before, but I think you have. If you really and truly have never been camping, then I think you'd find it even exciting to just put a tent up in your backyard
Yep.
with a barbecue pit, and
Yep.
just stay the night out there to see what it feels like to be in a tent all night long and do
Yep.
that a few times, and then maybe go to a state park and then do it a few times and just keep building up until you're ready to be out somewhere bigger by yourself.
That's exactly it. Because I mean, even though I grew up on a farm and I was in heavily wooded area, but when I was little, I can remember not having tents and taking these little play tents that I got at garage sales and sleeping in my
Yeah.
backyard growing up and getting over those fears that my brothers instilled in me that oh Bigfoot's gonna eat you or a bear's gonna get you. I think, you know what, I'm gonna sleep I'm gonna sleep out with my dog in the backyard to make sure there is no Bigfoot out there.
Yeah.
Take the biggest flashlight you can get your hands on and go out there and shining around when you hear
Yeah.
noises when you're a kid. I mean, like I said, 99.9% of the times it can be explained. The noises you hear, uh, you know,
Hmm.
majority of wildlife is going to keep their distances unless you give them a reason to be there. You don't set up your camp near water. Uh, all the animals go to water to drink. You don't put it up in a game trail if you can help it. Um, smart with your food.
Don't
If
put it up
all
under a dead tree.
yes, become a a widow. Yeah, that would be bad. I mean, plan your trips. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, if you have to get a piece of paper and pen and have be one of those people that need a list. I mean, so you don't forget
That's what I
anything.
do.
So yeah, I
Every
mean,
time I go camping, I type out a list on my phone, and then as I go through it, I just start knocking them out. I'll
yep,
repost the list several times. I'll copy it, paste it, take out what I've put on there, and then I just keep doing that. Or put it on paper, like you said, but I do it almost every single time.
yeah. And it is natural to have fears no matter what. I mean, it goes with anything in life, starting a new job, moving to a new city. You're going to have fears about things just because you're going camping, even with your first time camping. It's not going to, no matter how prepared you are or how much homework you've done, there's still some fear involved in it. You know, it's normal to have those fears, you know, new or bad experiences in the past, shouldn't discourage you. You get to get over those fears or those frustrations that you've done in the past. Just get out and try it. You know, a lot of we've touched on pretty much everything, but another thing I could add to, because I know for you and me, uh, a big fear of wildlife includes bears, snakes, and insects. Because who doesn't hate ticks and spiders? And you
Yeah.
don't want a snake crawling up. I mean, these things scare even me. you
Yeah.
know, I don't want a snake falling out of a tree and landing on top of me.
Yeah.
But that's
Snakes
part.
is probably my biggest fear. And then,
Yep.
I mean, I fear snakes more than bears
Oh yeah.
because,
Yep.
especially when it's like springtime or something and it's starting to cool, get warmer,
Yep.
because at night it still gets cold. So I think the snakes are out, and then my mind tells me, okay, but at night it's getting cold, so they're going to be looking for a warm place to sleep. And I'm always scared they're going to want to crawl up in the sleeping bag with me. So usually through the spring and the summer and the warm part of fall, I'm usually try to sleep in a something with a zipper and screen or something.
Yep. For sure. I mean, that's a given for me too in the summer, especially. Says two guys in the Ozarks says a flashlight is a good deterrent. Yeah, it is. It's a real good one. It's always good to have a good flashlight. Hey, Lefty, good to see you, brother. Thanks for stopping
What's up,
in.
Lefty?
Yeah, it's. I mean, we could go over and over and over again, just like last week on EDC. I mean, there's so many things that you can think of and go over, but you're still, no matter what, you're still going to have those fears, and those animals, insects, are my biggest fear, and other than people, obviously. But you know, it's it's just common to be out in nature and sharing the space with the animals and the insects. I mean, it's just a given. You can't get away from them. You can use deterrents, you know, bug sprays
Yeah.
and lotions and that type of stuff, which I do. But I mean, you can only deter so much from snakes.
Hmm.
Luckily, trying to find a good camp spot that don't have a lot of snakes. That's something you don't want to go down by a river for your first time camping where there's a bunch of snakes. I mean, that wouldn't be a good
Hmm.
first impression for sure. Mosquitoes are killers. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, the mosquitoes are really bad, Lefty. I totally agree with you on that one. Man, that's another thing. I'm not scared of them, but I hate them with a passion. Lefty also says I walked over top of more copperheads down here in the lake than I ever cared to see. Yeah, for sure. Been down by the lakes. Yeah, water moccasins and copperheads
I
around
almost,
here, especially.
I almost stepped on a water moccasin about
Oh, fishing.
2 summers ago, I think.
Oh,
Well, I was hiking with a friend from church, and he was leading the way, and we were on these rocks right next to the water. And he just walked on, and I was right behind him, and I just happened to look down. There was a snake right there with its mouth wide open, right next to the water. Man, it was.
Man.
If I would have tried to take another step, I think he would have got me.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad fear, to be, especially if you're away from too many people or emergency help, that could be a bad situation.
Yep,
Lefty also says he's pulled a half dozen ticks off this year too. Yeah, I've pulled a couple off already this year.
me too. I've got
Yeah,
spots all over me that still itch from where I pulled the ticks off.
yeah. Once you pull one or find one, you think you got 100 of them crawling on you.
Yep,
Like a touching with sharing space with animals and ticks and what have you, it's unpredictable and dangerous. I mean, like we're saying about the snakes, about even ticks and mosquitoes, they all carry disease. And, I know that makes people fearful. They don't want to deal with that. Um, and being unpredictable or dangerous, like I touched on earlier, storing your food in bear proof containers or hanging them away from your campsite, eating away from your campsite, obviously, not keeping snacks and food in your tent with you. Uh, those things are no brainers, but people just don't think about it.
yep.
My nephew,
That's
one
a
time,
big
they,
one.
they brought an extra tent with them. They thought they didn't think, but they thought, well, that'd be a good place to put our extra food. Well, they put their extra food in there, and they woke up, and the raccoons had just tore holes through their tent and drug everything out and drug it through the
Yeah,
woods, and it was a mess. Thanks for stopping in, Lefty. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I mean, like like you said earlier, keeping your tent zipped, keeping the bugs out and the critters out. That's another deterrent. Um, Putting your pant legs or into your boots, or you know, wearing insect repellent, like I said, or lotions. There's only so much you can do. I mean, um, as far as insects, I mean, there's a lot of for mosquitoes, the thermocells are supposed to be really good. I haven't personally used one, but that's where smoky fires come in play, and get rid of some of the insects with that. But being prepared as much as you can and not be scared of them, just wear your defense.
yep,
I mean, I guess hitting on like our fears, fear of bad weather, like I said with my kids, that's a huge thing because this time of year you have so many pop-up storms. Like today it only forecasted, I don't know, we didn't have a high percentage to have these severe thunderstorms roll through, but a lot of them just popped up. I mean, you really can't predict more than half hour, 45 minutes that one's going to hit you sometimes.
hmm
No matter how prepared you are, you don't want to be hit with a tornado. I mean, that's gonna give everybody fear, but I mean, you just have to be prepared as much as you can and watch the weather.
yeah,
Ken says, I use the thermocell all the time this time of the year. I buy bulk packages on Amazon for the fuel and fly thingy. Oh, flat thingy. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I hear they work really well. I'm wanting to get one. I think Camping with Champion recently got one too, and he's really liking his. So it might be a good addition, especially car camping. But they don't weigh much, so I'd even pack it in probably as well. Let's see here. Got to go. See you later. Thanks for coming in, Adam. I appreciate you stopping in, brother. I really do. If you guys haven't
See,
given me a
man.
thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. I haven't said that. I haven't posted. If anybody in there can post the link, repost that link for me, I can probably do it too. Well,
I tried
speaking
to
of,
post it. Go
did
ahead.
you did you try to post
I,
it?
I tried to post it, but I didn't know how to copy it because when I
Oh, okay,
tried to copy it, it tried to bring me into here.
awesome. Let's see here. Hey Herbert, how you doing tonight, brother?
Oh, Herbie.
Ken says you can get tabletop ones too. They have a few models. Yeah, I've seen those at Walmart as well. I like those. You can set them right on the picnic table. Hey Todd, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm glad you like that thermocell. I watched that last video you used in it, and it worked pretty good for you. It looked like. Trying to catch up on the comments here. Outdoors with Den said, I bought a thermocell that uses a fuel can, much cheaper than the little canisters, fuel canisters. Yeah, yeah. Probably pay to do your homework on which one you purchase for sure. I mean, for backpacking, you'd always obviously want the small one without the canisters, but like if you're car camping and you have a picnic table or what have you, you could use the one with the canisters, I'm sure. But like Den said, it is the cost effective to go the other route for sure. That's good too. I mean, that helps the fear of people that's never camped before. Definitely to have your all your avenues covered for insect repellent for sure. The bad weather, definitely. Do your homework as best you can on the weather. Obviously, not setting up in flood zones and stay higher ground when you do set up camp so you don't have to worry about rain runoff as well. You may not be near a river or a lake for rising waters, but you could be a natural creek area or just natural water runoff area. You don't want to set up your camp in there. That would definitely instill fear in you. I think another big thing about people being fearful of camping, not necessarily car camping or backyard, obviously, but when they do go out to be more primitive or go out into a state park that's more primitive is the fear of getting lost. And that's kind of where your map and compass, GPS, all that comes in plays, being prepared when you're going to be out in the outdoors, know the area as best as you can. Tell someone where you're going and when you'll be back is a really good idea. That way, that'll give you some sense of security that somebody knows where you're going and roughly where you're going to be. And if you can give them a pin GPS location of exactly there you're going to be in is the most important thing, I think.
Yep, that's a real good idea.
Yeah. Let's see here. That's what I'm going to. Todd said that's what I'm going to do from now on. Yeah. It's a real good idea, especially with the mosquitoes, man. If I know the Skin So Soft Avon lotion works great with the ticks and mosquitoes for that matter. But man, if you can add that thermocell to it, I'm all on that. Let's see here. Trying to see my outline. Kind of more tips is stick to marked trails unless you're experienced in the backcountry hiking. But I mean, if you're hiking,
Yep.
camping in, yeah, you definitely want to stick to trails, especially for your first time. I mean, or take somebody that's very experienced in on the trail system that you're going on. I mean, obviously that doesn't go for car camping, but I mean, I'm sure Todd's got a bunch of fears for stealth camping that he could share with us in the comments. Uh, I know for stealth camping, it's a whole new meaning of fear. It brings in fear, all different new fears for experienced campers, for all of us. I mean, even if it's as not a high risk stealth camp, it's still a fear of getting caught, a fear of, or am I on private property, or you know, you still don't want to be caught.
Yeah.
um,
It's
kind
the
of,
adrenaline.
yeah, it is adrenaline rush, and that's kind of what I like more about stealth camping than any of it. Is just the adrenaline and just something new, a challenge. It makes it more challenging because you can get stagnant and you're just camping, daily camping. You throw some stealth
Yep.
camps in there, and it makes things new. Let's see here. Todd says, I want to get into some more primitive camping bushcraft too. Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be some really cool new content. And you can do it when you stealth camp too. I mean, but
What state is he in?
he's in Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got real humidity. I mean, he's got worse humidity than we do. So I feel for you, brother. I went to Louisiana a lot growing up. My mom had friends down there, and it was super humid. That's a whole new ball game. I mean, it gets bad enough here, but it's even worse there. Let's see. Herbert says I used to spray bug, didn't get a single bite since I had started using it. Really? Bugg. Didn't get a bite since started using it. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Todd also says that's why I stick to major businesses, less likely to be shot. Yeah, for sure. Uh, yeah, I like that last Huddle House camp. That was pretty awesome. I was wondering if he's going to get off that roof or not. I'm glad it worked out for you. I'm not lost. I'm exploring. Hey, y'all. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you coming in, brother. Two Guys says I've been getting into bushcraft more. Yep, I've noticed that. It's fun to do for sure. You can. It's a real good thing to integrate into camping after you start camping and get over all those fears and get comfortable. It's definitely something really good to do. Herbert says have a lot of nature or natural oils. Yeah, eucalyptus mint, spearmint. There's a lot of different oils, essential oils you can use for bug deterrent. I know that's a huge thing for people fearing camping is the bugs, animals. Another big thing we didn't really uh, touch on. I'm kind of going over um, kind of tips after kind of the discussion we went over, but dark and night noises. We kind of hit the night noises, but a lot of people aren't going to admit they're afraid of the dark. I mean, just being in a strange new area and it being dark with all the noises, I mean, it just compounds your anxiety and fear more and more. Uh,
Yep.
the woods can be creepy by themselves in the daytime, let alone at night, you know. And when you're used to city noises and you go out in the woods, it's a whole different ball game. Just the
Yep.
shuffling of the animals at night just makes strange noises and it
Mm-hmm.
echoes.
Yep.
Let's see here.
And
I
if
just
it's
don't.
cloudy, especially, man, it gets dark.
Yeah, it does.
Woo.
Yep. So those are things too. I figured adding, the dark. But like I said before, bringing, a flashlight, headlamp, extra batteries, making sure you're prepared that you've got plenty of light. You want to be as comfortable as you can, see what those noises are, be able to see to go to the bathroom. Um, and big thing for me is not so much for fear. I do it because of the noise when the cicadas are so noisy or the spring peepers, the owls at night are so loud. I bring earplugs with me because of the noise. Or, if you
I
are
couldn't.
scared of noises or it keeps you up, put your earplugs in. You're not going to hear where that bear's going to eat you. No, I didn't.
I can't do
But I mean,
earplugs.
a lot of people need to hear their surroundings even when they're sleeping. But for me, um,
You're froze.
yeah. Well, no, I mean it's. I have to wear some earplugs sometimes because the wildlife does get so noisy, especially the insects, that sometimes you just need it quiet. You know. Let's see here. Snakes are my kryptonite, Ken says. Yeah, mine too, brother, for sure. If you have a hammock camp, you don't have to worry about as many bugs, for sure, or snakes. That's another reason I love hammocks. And I can't, sleep so well in it. Todd says, eventually I'd like to get a night vision camera. Yes. And that's kind of what we hit on earlier. I know Ozarks Woodsman, myself, and a lot of YouTubers, Tony himself, we all like game cameras. Number one, I like to see what wildlife is roaming around, but they work good for night vision. And if you get the Wi-Fi game camera, like Bomb Outdoors, Kenny, he has his game camera. He can connect Wi-Fi to his camera and see real time around his camp. So, and it has night vision. So that's pretty cool. It's a good option for you, Todd, is to get you a Wi-Fi trail cam that you can connect real time and see. You don't even have to get out of your tent if you hear a noise. I mean, that's a real good option. My game cameras, its only bad thing is I can't see live feed. I have to get out and get the card, or it does send a text with the picture or video, but sometimes it misses some things and puts it on the SD card. So kind of option there for security, I guess.
Hey, let me show you something real quick.
Okay.
There it is.
Oh, buddy. Haven't even opened the box.
I still haven't opened it.
Yep. Well, there you go. That's your number one deterrent from snakes. Get up off the ground.
For this trip. Yep.
I'm not lost. I'm exploring, says LOL. Thank you, Ken. Be sure to say hi in the comments so I can check out your page. Yeah. I encourage everybody, if you haven't checked everybody's channels out, pretty much everybody in here tonight has YouTube channels. I wouldn't mind for everybody to check out everybody and give everybody a subscribe if you want to support their channels. That's for sure. That's what we're here for as a community, to support each other and get more subs for each other. Let's see here. Herbert says, the only thing I fear is the little green men. Yeah. A lot of people fearful of aliens or whatever, but.
And the purple rainmakers.
Yeah, purple rain, that's a fear, but that's with people. People are so you can't predict people. They're so unpredictable. Adventures with Ken says, I have a night vision scope for my crossbow that records. It's pretty sweet and only like $199 on Amazon. Got it for hunting for. Oops, where'd my comments? Comments went away. Hunting for farmers' fields. Wow, that's awesome. I don't know why.
Uh-oh. Am I the only one on here?
Wow, that was weird. I came back. I lost feed and it came back. Somebody else is trying to get in now.
I was hosting your channel for you.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. I don't know. I seen the screen flickering a couple times, and I guess they wanted to boot me. I was probably too ugly for everybody. Let's see here.
Who's trying to get in now?
Do what?
Who's trying to get in now?
Oh, nobody. It said there was a guest coming in, but it must have just picked up me coming back in. But the guest icon was on when I came back. Andy's face, his expression almost hit the floor. Randy, not Andy.
What happened?
Your expression, he almost hit the floor.
When you left?
Yeah. Heck with it. I'm out of here. Yeah, it's been
hello, everybody.
glitchy sometimes, man. I'm glad that the weather didn't become a factor. Yeah, I guess finishing off on the animal topic on and night time is, like I said, night noises are mostly harmless animals, which I'd agree with, or trees make a lot of noise in the wind. You know, I think fear of fire hazards could be one of them too. Like I kind of touched on earlier, new people camping, not familiar with making campfire, or they're not being familiar with their stoves or lanterns. Those can all definitely pose a risk and fear in your camping of not being prepared. But like I said, you need to know your gear. Even if you borrow gear from somebody, you need to be shown how to use it and to be able to use it well. Or we all have YouTube. There's a million how-to videos. There's no reason
Mhm.
for you anymore not to at least have somewhat of a knowledge of the equipment you're going out with. Deadfall, yep. Herbert for sure, yep. Let's see here.
Is Herbert still out camping right now?
I don't think you are you, Herbert? I think you're home, aren't you? Yeah, he went on a camp trip.
A long one.
Yeah, I like going on the long ones. It's nice to go for a week at a time on a camp. Yeah, he's home now. Awesome. I'm glad you made it home, brother. Kind of going with the fire hazards, only build fires in designated fire rings, or obviously, or if you have a fire pit, you don't want to have to call the fire department or start a forest fire. You don't want to be that person. you know Along with that, keep water, sand, or fire extinguisher if you're car camping by. If you do build a fire, it gets out of control, you can control it. Make sure it's out good. And big thing is kind of safety. It goes along with is, look up your local fire regulations and see if you can even have a fire, or if there's a temporary fire ban that you may not know about. I mean, um, be huge um, reason why you'd never want to camp again if you started a fire for sure.
Yeah, if you got ticketed $400 for building one.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and somebody touched on this a while back, and I don't remember who it was in one of the lives. It's fear of hygiene's number one, and bathrooms kind of it's blended together. And in my outline, I kind of they're together, which makes sense. Um, that is a huge concern for some people because some people have to have a shower every single day. So if that's
Yeah.
the case, you're gonna have to go to a campground that has those facilities, or later on down the road when you get more into camping and get your gear, you can buy those shower structures like I have and have your shower with you. But it's definitely
If
not
you
something you're
want,
gonna.
if
Yeah.
you
Do what?
want potting in the woods, just be sure you're careful what leaves you clean up with.
Yeah, yeah, because that goes on with you don't want a rash. That's gonna ruin your camping trip real quick,
Yep.
especially in certain areas.
Yep.
The lack of toilets and running water is intimidating or gross to some people that are just only lived in town or lived in houses with running water. And um, you can have your sanitizing wipes. I always carry them with me. If you know you can clean with those and take a bird bath with those. And um, especially if you're out where you don't have running water, it's real important to keep your hygiene up. If you do get cut or you do have poison ivy, you can clean it really well. And in your first aid kit, being prepared is having anti-itch cream and things to help with those, relieve those itches. Herbert said he was only 3 days out camping. Herbert also said fear of leaving my cell phone. But your cell phone
Well,
is also that emergency
wow.
preparedness. But some people just nowadays, especially, you can't be a second without your cell phone. I mean, a lot of people, it's true.
But,
But if
but
that's a comfort, yeah.
especially when you leave it on the side of a mountain.
Oh, and you have to climb up it 3 times.
Yep.
Oh, buddy, that was bad. I'm just glad it was there.
Me too.
I'm not lost, I'm exploring. Ha ha. You'll only pick the wrong leaves once. Yep. Oh man, I could not imagine. I'm glad I'm not allergic to poison ivy or oak or sumac, but I mean, I definitely am not going to wipe with it whether I am or not because I don't want to find out in certain areas if I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Dude wipes for the win. Yes, sir. Yep. I use those a lot, or some sort of those. I like the dude wipes because you can get the non-scented ones, so you're not attracting insects and stuff with scented wipes. That's not a good idea in the woods. Um, yep. Dude wipes are, like I said, even I noticed here lately at Dollar Tree, even and Dollar General, they have forms of those wipes. They even have dude wipes, but I mean, they have I definitely highly suggest unscented. But I mean, there's always a way to control hygiene with hand sanitizer and that type of stuff if you're out, Um, let's see here, biodegradable wipes, and that's one thing too. Is a lot of the flushable wipes are biodegradable. So I mean, if you do bury them, they're gonna biodegrade. So and that's another thing added to it is thinking of the environment. I still would like to see people pack them out, but if they are biodegradable, toilet paper, that type of stuff, I don't mind seeing people bury them, but don't just leave them on top of the ground when you go to campsite. It's disgusting. There's just toilet paper and paper towels all over the place. It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing people don't want to do is dig a hole and go out in the woods, and I get that. But the place that we went for the first time in Mark Twain, that's a primitive area, and you can bring your own toilet. You know, if you're car camping, but you can do more primitive camping and still have those amenities with you. You're not gonna hike in with a toilet, obviously, but that's where, like Todd said, learning bushcraft, you can bushcraft you a camping toilet,
Yep.
which I've done. It's pretty easy to do. Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, touching on if I highly suggest your first camp and to get over those fears, wrapping all that up into one is to go to a campground with those amenities until you get comfortable being in the outdoors and then slowly integrate a camp toilet in or a camp shower. Some people just cannot camp without those amenities. And if that's the case, I mean, you're going to have to get an RV or get those outside showers and toilets. Matt says, I just use tree bark. Tree bark and corn on the cob.
Yeah.
3 seashells. Herbert says. Ken says, let's see here. My first deployment to Afghanistan, we couldn't shower for 4 months and could only brush our teeth twice a week.
Ooh.
We were on limited water supply. We would swim in the creek and just rub ourselves down. Yep. That's a good idea too. I mean, if you're around water, there's no reason why you can't jump in, even if it's cold. And if it's cold, heat up the water on your fire or your stove and always bring some kind of a towel, or even if you just have paper towels, you can take a spit bath. But I mean, all kidding aside, I mean, those are all good suggestions or good things to do. I mean, there's no reason why, you know, you can't do all the things out camping that you can do at home. I mean, Are they harder? Yes. You can go to campgrounds that have full shower houses. Lake Catherine State Park in Arkansas is a beautiful campsite. They have RV pads, they have primitive tent camping pads, but they also have a shower house. They have trails, they have a lake. It's a beautiful state park. It's not too far away, but that would be a huge here in the Midwest if you're in Arkansas or around this area. It's, Lake Catherine State Park is amazing. It's got waterfalls and it's got trails and it's got everything a new camper would definitely want. That would be a great spot for a first time camp. But let's see here. Anything else to add? Fear of being alone or around strangers. I think we hit that earlier. Kind of the same kind of going over extra suggestions. Let's see here.
I don't know about KOA campgrounds, but they used to be pretty safe.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, a couple years ago when we worked at a place in Springfield, I went on vacation. My wife and I went out to Sedona, Arizona for a week, and on the way back, we stayed at a KOA on the way back and got a tent camping spot. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with KOAs are they're notorious for being right next to the interstate, so it's super noisy for tent camping. Very good for RV camping, but then again, they pack you in there like sardines if it's on a weekend or
Yep.
something. So you can literally reach out of your door of your RV and almost touch your neighbor. So I mean, there's that. I mean, um, let's see here.
Is it raining there?
Yeah, it's raining pretty hard here. I was actually listening to that. It's hitting the window out here.
Yeah, it's raining here too.
Let's see here, two guys. Okay, just chatting. I'm checking chat, making sure I'm not behind on chat. I'm sure I'm going to miss something. Let's see here. More primitive and remote camping, less people, but increased chance for purple rain. Yeah, Herbert, that's true. I mean, but I'm not too scared of purple rain.
Boy, that had me terrified that night. I guarantee you.
Let's see here. Two guys in the Ozarks said I did a week without shower on a FTX. Yeah. I mean, I can go long term without taking a shower. I don't like it. I don't really like going over 3 days without some kind of form of at least bird bath or something or wipes or something. But
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, that's getting up there a week or longer's pushing it. But I mean, that goes against safety too. I mean, if you get cut or anything, you got more of an increased chance of infection, and that would never be good. Um, but if you're going to be out camping for the first time, I hope like heck you're not going for 7 days for your first trip. I definitely would not suggest that overnight for sure. Maybe 2 nights, but 7-day camp for your first trip would be rough.
Can you hear the noise, the rain?
Yeah, I can't hear
On my-
yours.
Oh, okay. Getting
They
pretty
had
hard.
baby wipes. Let's see here. Yeah, Matt from Two Guys in the Ozarks said he had baby wipes and stuff to clean up. Yeah, it's good. We always do too. But yeah, kind of going back over I just got a notification that we're still under tornado watch, so that makes sense. Popped up on my tablet here. I'm kind of hit on some of the stuff that we talked about, like the big fear for most people's wildlife encounters. I'd like to hit more on that. Kind of like what two guys said earlier, knowing your surroundings and what common wildlife is out there. Um, and that's kind of why I hit with the game cam. I mean, if especially with private property or whatever, like I said earlier, if you can set out a game cam or go hiking and kind of get a feel of what game scats on the trails and in the area and find out, what kind of wildlife's there is going to help you be more prepared on what to expect. I mean, what is everybody else's number one fear? I mean, you've shared with us snakes and stuff, but and people. Um, I was expecting more in the comments of what everybody else fears.
Yeah. I think you were talking about being scared of some people being scared of the dark. I don't know if it'd be called scared of the dark, but it's scared of what might be in the dark,
Yeah.
that you can't see.
Yep.
But then I always have to remind myself, if it's a human being, which is what I fear the most, if I can't see them, they probably can't see me.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Ken says I use dude wipes on my yearly hunting trip to the mountains, then sit around the campfire in the smoke as scent control. Campfires are very common in that area. Yep, for sure, Ken. Yep. Let's see here. Fear that Sam will go through my camp and I might sleep through it. Herbert T said, fear that Sam will go through his camp and he'll sleep through it. Yeah, that's a fear.
or if you
Here.
sleep through it, why would you fear it?
Yeah, I know, really. Adventures with Ken says snakes. I hate them. I don't even like them when I see them 10 feet away. When I see a snake, I have two moments. A a bowel movement, then I can't see the last word. What's that? I run. Yes. Yeah, snakes. Yeah, I don't like snakes. I know they're good for the environment, but as long as they're away from me, they're good.
Yep, that's how I feel. I mean, I ain't
Sam,
scared of them. Like if I walk up,
yeah,
I'll see them from a distance or something. But I just don't want them.
yeah,
If I accidentally crawl up or walk up on one, or if they crawl up in my sleeping bag or something, that would terrify me.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, because I was disconnecting some plumbing pipe under a house one time. I know this is off subject and not camping, but it would go along with camping. I've literally not had it happen to me camping, but I was under a house in the dark disconnecting some plumbing, and a snake crawled across my feet. Man, I come out of there quicker than you could ever see somebody come out of there. I knew what it was too.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah, that was bad. Uh, two guys in Ozark says treating your clothes is a good idea for sure. Yeah, very good idea. Woodsman says Sam has ninja skills, so you'll never know when he's there. Just saying. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things, to that are going to scare you more. I think for most people is the wildlife, the darkness, being alone. A lot of people don't like being alone. Um, I'm going over the highlights of the recap of different things that I put in here. I believe wildlife encounters is on the top of the list. Safe camping practices, being prepared, knowing your surroundings. So yeah, I mean, we pretty much hit them all. I mean, um, I think, yeah, Ken definitely agrees with you about the snakes. I can deal with bears and alligators around here. I can see them. Yep, for sure. Um, wrong turns. Yeah, getting lost in the woods if you're remote or primitive camping, that's not going to be good, especially if you don't have a map or some sort of GPS to get your bearings. So, I mean, there's so many ways that a camp can go wrong. So, I don't want to just hit new campers, but that's who I hear talking about wanting to go camping or fear about camping is mostly new campers. So, if this video can help somebody get some encouragement and uh, about getting out, I mean, that's all it's about is getting out. And like you said, start in your backyard, if nothing else. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Nothing at all.
Especially if you have kids or something.
Yeah. I camped in my hammock the other 2 weeks ago on that Monday night doing my live. I was working on that hammock stand and I was like, I'm going to sleep in my backyard. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I still do. I've got my base camp on the back part of our property in the woods and, I enjoy it. When I just want to get a quick overnighter and don't feel like going anywhere, just go outside. I even like that.
I've got a place set up like on my last video where I cooked the
Yep.
lamb chop,
Yep.
and I like the setup, but I live in the hood for real. It is a rough area, man.
Yeah.
And so it gets really, really loud most Friday and Saturday nights. But my neighbors, my closest neighbors, they're really, really good people, and they watch my house for me. But they definitely enjoy their night times on the weekends
Yeah.
outside. So
Pretty
I
loud.
don't, yeah. So I can. It's hit and miss for me, but I love it out there. If I do get to stay out there, I was out
Yeah.
there earlier, just sitting and looking, and I enjoyed it. I did a little bit of a live before you came on.
Yeah. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I did see that in that video that of that tent. I mean, that's a good idea. And that's one thing I was thinking. I was like, man, I hope he can use that. I mean, I didn't know. And that's another thing, people don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods, not just you, but I mean, people in bad parts of the cities, I mean, they're not going to want to sleep in their yard. They're going to feel
Yeah,
less safe there than at a campground, obviously.
yeah.
Let's see here.
I
The
mean,
deep.
here, even well, it's off subject, but it's just constant, like dogs barking and
Yep.
gunfire. There's always gunfire. It's not like gangs. I live out in the country, and so we have all these open fields, and all these people go out practicing their shooting their guns, and
Yep.
but it's loud, and so
Well,
it makes it hard to
well,
make videos.
yeah, and I mean, and that's why kind of adding to that, that's why we get out and go camping is to get away from all that stuff. So,
Yeah,
you know, and you're not going to hear some of those night sounds because of all that city noise or neighborhood noise, but it will give you a sense of being outside at least. But yeah, totally agree with you on that one. Herbert says, let's see here. I got to catch up on some more comments. Herbert says wrong turns, the deep woods locals for sure. Uh, Two guys in the Ozark says using Google to get to the camping area. Yeah, for sure. And then, like I said earlier, giving somebody a GPS pin on what campground you're going to and
yeah.
when you're going to be there and when you're going to leave.
I think that's a real good idea for anybody.
Yep. Anywhere you
That
go for
way,
that matter.
yep. If you don't show up when you're supposed to show back up, then they know to send somebody looking for you.
Yep, absolutely. At least they're going to know the general area where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
Adventures with Ken says, I'm really good at land navigation. I taught in the Marine Corps, so I rarely get lost in the woods. I just go and explore. Use great therapy. Yep. Yeah. That's kind of what I feel too. I'm really good and comfortable with land navigation and, knock on wood, I haven't got lost either. But I mean, I know that would be a huge feeling of fear, anxiety. If somebody did go out and get lost, I would hope like heck that nobody would go mountain climbing or hiking for their first camp, but people do it all the time. I mean, that's where all these rescues are taking place and people dying because they go out unprepared on these winter camps and freeze to death or oh man. It's crazy what people do for their first outings. Let's see here. Two Guys in the Ozarks says, yeah, land nav was easy for me as well. Yeah. I mean, some people have a sense of direction. Some people don't naturally. I feel a lot of some people have it naturally knack for it. My brother and my mom did not. For
I
sure.
don't either.
They get lost in their own house. Let's see here. Ozarks Woodsman said, I've got to a good campsite, no critters or nothing, sleep like a baby in it. Yeah, you got plenty of critters out there.
Mm-hmm.
Need to start working. Two Guys in the Ozark says, I need to start working with Kyle on land nav. Yeah, that would be great because the kids nowadays are not taught that at all. And schools definitely don't teach it. It's very important. Herbert says, I used to live in Memphis. Camping is paradise compared to that. Yeah, for sure. Memphis, and I wouldn't want to camp out in the downtown Memphis for sure. Heather says, my fear is unexpected drastic weather changes. Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what I hit on earlier. First kids camping experience was in a tornado at the lake in a campground and we pitched the tent on a game trail. So yeah, I mean, we all make mistakes and make poor choices. I mean, I was pretty young back then, but I knew better. But we was kind of in a hurry to get dinner done, all the things, and things can go wrong quick, especially the weather, just like tonight. Let's see here. Adventures with Ken says, Luke with Outdoor Gear Review just talked about a lady who joined a search party who was looking for her. I didn't watch the whole video yet, but I've seen the detail. Yeah, I did see that. I got a notification of his new upload. I haven't watched that video either, but that is crazy to think this lady joined a search crew and they were looking for that herself. They were looking for the lady that joined the search crew. She was missing and she joined a search crew to search for herself and didn't know it.
Did she know they were searching for her, or did she not know who they were searching for?
Well, obviously, I didn't watch the video yet, so I don't know the full details, but obviously she didn't know they were looking for her. She wouldn't have joined the search, I would assume.
Well, I thought you was meaning it. I didn't know if you meant it was a scam that she had pulled on them, or
I don't know for sure, for certain, like Ken was saying here. I did see that video posted, but I want to watch it because I kind of giggled about it, but it may be serious. I don't know what's going on with that, but I mean, I don't know how you would not know that they were searching for you. Ken says, let's see here. I can't even see my own comments in here. I don't know yet. Gonna watch it tonight. Yeah, I need to watch it too and see what it's all about. But I mean, there's just so many. I mean, it goes like you say, like we just talked about, giving people your location, telling them what time you're going to be there, what time to expect you back, and obviously she wasn't back or she didn't notify somebody or something that and they put her as missing. Let's see. She wasn't lost. She was. What did it say? What Woodsman say? I can't see that comment. She wasn't lost. She was exploring. Oh, so she was exploring. So hopefully, in the details of that video, Matt, did they say whether she was exploring? But was there a reason why they reported her missing? Obviously, she wasn't back, and a time frame somebody expected, obviously. Or maybe she did not give him any details on where she was going or whatever, and somebody just thought she was lost or missing or whatever. That's crazy. But I mean, that kind of goes along with this whole discussion. I mean, I don't think, like Luke said, that's why he's doing all these news stories on YouTube, his channel more so now, to educate people, encouraging people to be more prepared in the area they're going on. This guy in California had never hiked a mountain summit, and that was his first outing, and then these other kids went hiking in this mountain in Crocs. I mean, plain
Oh my
stupidity.
gosh.
And yeah, I mean, I hate to say it like that, but I mean, it's just being either stupid or being unprepared, and a little bit of both. I mean, this couple that got rescued off the mountain, they had over 100-pound packs each, and they've never done backpacking, and they both had over
Oh,
100 pounds,
goodness.
a woman and a man,
Wow.
and they had to get rescued off the mountain because, yeah, and they had huge gear, not hiking gear. They had full big sleeping bags. I mean, big full-size lanterns. None of it was backpacking gear. It was the stupidest story, but it's true. I mean,
Sounds like they packed their vehicle in there.
yeah, I mean, even if I didn't know, put that gear on your back and hike with it. If you can't hike with it on level ground comfortably for a mile, you're sure not going to go on a backpacking trip with a 100-pound pack on your back. I mean, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Woodsman says I was being sarcastic. Yeah, I know, but it still doesn't make it any better. I mean, Adventures with Ken says Crocs are strictly camping shoes. Set up your tent or your hammock and lounge around and not hike in them for sure. I like bringing, especially when I car camp, I like bringing some kind of slip-on shoes, Crocs or my Hey Dudes or something. For sure, I wear them around camp. Nothing wrong with that at all. Let's see here. Two Guys in the Ozarks says, I just used to see that kind of stuff all the time when I was doing search and rescue. I bet, man. Um, that's all over YouTube. I mean, if you search it, all these rescues and some states and places are considering fining you if you have to be rescued for not being prepared or for being ignorant about things. I mean, it's one thing to make a mistake or have an accident and you fall and break your leg or something like that, but just being
Dumb.
plain out stupid and going out and doing something like that, yeah, I think you should be fined for search and rescue being deployed and hundreds of people looking for you. I mean, that's just, if you're going to be stupid about it, I mean, I think you should have to pay the price for sure. Let's see here. Guys, I'd like to get in search and let's see here. Two guys. I'd like to get in search and rescue. Yeah, I think that would be satisfying and fulfilling to do, to be able to help, especially those that I shouldn't say deserve it. That's not a right way to put it. But I mean, I'm as frustrated as anybody else on seeing things that people are trying to do. They think it's funny. They think they can do it. They may not start it as being careless, but if you'd stop and think about it for 1 second, you're not only putting your life on the line, you're putting maybe hundreds of people in a search and rescue's lives. One person recently in the last year or so had to get rescued for not being prepared, and one of the search and rescue persons died trying to rescue them. So, I mean, that's something you got to consider. I mean, just because you watch a YouTube video on people doing it doesn't mean if you've never done anything in your life that you can just go out and do it. I mean,
Yep.
I just don't understand that people just, oh, I can do it. I can do it. Let's see here. Adventures with Ken says, yeah, you go out in the winter blizzard with a bathing suit on and have to call for rescue, then you'll find them. Yeah. I mean, it's just ignorant. I mean, just like that father and son that died, they went out winter camping and they didn't have the proper gear and they froze to death, father and son. I mean, that's just tragic.
When was this?
Sometime this year, it was on
Really?
Luke Total Outdoor Gear Review, his news episodes that he does. It was I can't remember the details where they were at, but it was cold, and yeah, they went out camping in the winter and didn't have proper gear and clothing, and they froze to death. It was bad. It was really tragic.
Was it dad and a kid, or was his
Yeah,
son an
it's
adult?
his son. I don't know how old his son was, but it was a father and son that went out. It could have been a teenager, it could have been an adult son. I don't know the details. I'm not sure if Luke had the age details or not, but regardless, it's still tragic. Um, let's see here. Outdoors of Den, Randy, are you well? Are we keeping you up? LOL. Outdoors of
I'm
Den.
tired, man. I'm so
Looks like
sleepy. I keep yawning, and my eyes are just hard to keep open.
well, we're
Probably,
creeping up 9 minutes or so, about the 2 hours. I'm gonna try to keep my lives at 2 hours. I know it's you know everybody's got to work and get up, so
yeah,
I always try to respect everybody's time. I'm just grateful everybody comes in and joins in on these lives. It's really helpful. Herbert says it's easy to pick apart the things people do wrong in that situation. There is always going to be ones that think they can make it because they bought the best gear from watching a video. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. And that's kind of what I liked about Luke saying in their defense. But I mean, just because you watch a video doesn't mean that you're capable of using the equipment properly, knowing the R rating, R values on your sleeping gear, uh, the comfort versus the extreme uh, values of that equipment. I mean, there's so many variables. You're right, very right, Herbert. There's lots of different scenarios, but still, I mean, just because you watch a video, I mean, you're going to tell the search and rescue people, oh, I watch YouTube, so I knew I could do it. I mean, that's going to make you look really stupid. Um,
that's a sad story, man.
yeah, it is. Two Guys says, Ken, it's very rewarding, but sometimes you just shake your head. Yep, for sure, Matt. You would. Herbert says perhaps the creators of the outdoor gear reviews could do a better job of warning. Yeah, that's true, Herbert. That'd be really good. You know, get familiar with your gear before you go out. Especially if you've never camped. A lot of these people have never camped, and just this one guy bought thousands of dollars of camping gear and just went out. Never camped, never hiked, anything, and he had to get rescued. I mean, stupid. I mean, never even camped, never hiked, and tried to climb, I forget what big mountain out west. I think it was in California. I'm not 100% positive, but um, I should have researched more of these stories. But I mean, they're just thousands of them on YouTube, thousands of them on the news channels. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And I think, like Herbert says, the outdoor creators of all this outdoor gear should have more caution. A lot of them probably do, and maybe they just get discarded when they buy the gear. But I mean, they should have uh, things cautioning people on how to use them. But then again, that's where common sense plays part too. I mean, for anything. I mean, if you've never driven a backhoe, are you just going to jump on a backhoe and destroy half the things around you trying to figure it out. No, you're going to take it out in the open field and somebody's going to show you how to do it and you're going to learn how to do it properly and safely. I mean, you can't learn common sense. I hate to say it like that, and I've said it over and over again all my life. You hear people at work say, "Well, I can teach that person." No, you can't teach somebody common sense. If they don't have it, you can't learn common sense. I'm sorry.
And you can't fix stupid.
No, and it's true, and I know some people feel that it's being mean, but it's not. It's truthfully honest. I mean, if you can't do simple things in life correctly, don't go camping. Don't go hiking. Don't do things that extreme. It ain't the show Jackass. I mean, you don't. I mean, these people are getting paid for that to be stupid. Even if you're getting paid for it, if you're putting somebody else's life, if you're putting your own life on the line, that's one thing. But if you're putting somebody else's life on the line, that's a whole different thing. Even if you're putting your own life on the line, odds are you're putting somebody else's life on the line for emergency services to come bail you out if you do something really stupid. So, I mean, there's a fine line there of crossing the line of being mean or just being not caring about people. I mean, I would love to do search and rescue too, but it's so discouraging, like Matt said earlier, about half the time you just shake your head. And you're supposed to defend those people in that role for being stupid, not being educated, I should say, to be nicely about it. They were uneducated, but there's more to it than just being uneducated in those situations. Yeah, Ken, common sense isn't common anymore. Yep, for sure. Definitely not so common. Herbert says salespeople never suggest testing the gear first. They only care about the money. Yep, sales.
Man, that's real.
Yep, on everything: cars, camping gear, houses, anything. Just, can I make a buck off selling it? Who cares if it's going to blow up and have a safety issue or, it's bad. Ventures with Ken says, my oldest boy has no common sense. He's extremely book smart and is a great welder, but he's dumb as a box of rocks sometimes, bless his heart. I'd agree, and, as a parent, I feel bad because some of my kids sometimes do some of the stupidest things and you just shake your head and I feel guilty that maybe it's more my fault because I didn't do enough. I know you can't do everything for somebody. You can't, like you said, I can't teach people common sense, whether they're your child or relative or whoever. But it's true. It is very true. And, making a bad decision, I think, is a little different than making a bad decision without using common sense. Because it can compound that bad decision tenfold if you don't have common sense on top of it. I mean, just like camping. I mean, you can go up to Bass Pro here and spend $2,000 on all the most expensive camping gear and think you have it all figured out. And you could have a really bad conclusion of that camping trip just because you don't know safety. You don't know how to be prepared. You don't know how to use the gear properly. So here, Matt, Two Guys in Ozark says, the place we did a lot of the rescues at just became a state park, and they put a warning in the commercial. Wow. Sounds like Daniel out at TD Knives out at Phoenix, the Superstition Mountains. You've got to pay to go out there now because there was so many people going out there in the desert having to get rescued. So now they make people pay to go out there. So they're already prepaid. Well, it still ain't going to cover rescue, But if
Prepaid.
you're dumb enough to go out there, they're at least making some money off of you. But it's like, that's stupid.
Prepaid for your rescue.
Yeah. Well, they're running it for all the good outdoors people that enjoy that. Now they've
Yeah.
got to pay to enjoy that.
Yeah.
It's just, it hurts everybody. Let's see here. You can lead a horse to water, but you can make him drink. He's the same way, learns through mistakes. Yep. And that's what I tell my kids. I tell anybody, mistakes are good mistakes if you can learn from them. My dad always told me that, and it's true today, and I hold true to it. I tell my kids, and when they were growing up, I said, mistakes are okay if you can learn from them. But one of those mistakes, if you make a bad enough someday, you might not have time to learn from it, and those are tragic. And that's what I hate to see. That's kind of why I did this video, and I know that's why Luke does his videos, is trying to give some basic education to somebody that may think it's smart and funny to go out and do these, I call them stunts, or not just being stupid, but thinking they can do it and just a challenge for them. But if you're going to go out and do something like that, think of others if you're not going to think about yourself, if nothing else. Think of those first responders, those search and rescue people. They've got families to go home to. They've got little children to raise. And just because you think it's my life and I can do as I want, there's a fine line there. Somebody else is always involved in a poor decision, and in all situations, not just camping. If I can leave it here, my little soapbox rant, I guess you would call it, but I care about people too. I know Luke does. I know a lot of the people in search and rescue care, or they wouldn't be doing it. And I do appreciate you, Randy, for coming on here and hanging out with me, buddy.
Hey, not a problem, man. I'm looking forward to Wednesday.
Yep. We'll get loaded up and head out and enjoy this time together and meet some new people. I'm looking forward to meeting Nolan and everybody that shows up, and I'm sure we'll have a good time.
I'm sure, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
And no work. Woohoo!
Yeah, there you go. That's a good one for you.
Yeah.
It's always good. So, well, it's past the 2-hour mark. If nobody else wants to add to it, did I miss some chat? This chat's not rolling on me. Oh yeah, I missed some chat. That's why you have to practice it first. Den said, "Man, my chat's not updating. I'm so sorry, guys. Gear doesn't make up for dirt time. Nope." About people. Ken also says, "What irritates me the most about people who spend a lot of money on their gear for the first time is that I wish I could spend that kind of money on gear." Absolutely. And that's usually the rich kids, get out of college and they're like, "Oh, I can do that, and I'll just do it." Let's see here. Fell first attempt in learning. Yep, Matt. So you have to practice it first. Den said, "Yep." Herbert says, "I see so many first-time campers. You can always tell all their gear is still the Ozark Trail box when they pull it out of their car to collect punk wood for fire." Yep, for sure. Yep. Y'all need to do now is sing "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" to Randy and see if he can get him to pass out. Didn't
It
said
wouldn't
that.
take much.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you coming on here and joining this good conversation. It's always some good comments and chat that I really enjoy, and appreciate all the input. Appreciate you guys giving me your time and supporting my channel as I do you guys' too. I missed your live, but I went back and watched it today, Randy. So before my live, but get out and support each other's channels. If you're not subscribed, at least check out everybody's channel. Give them a like and comment and share the community, man.
Also, hey, I don't want anybody feeling obligated to watch any of my lives or anything. I just kind of do those for fun. So,
but the good thing about it is they're always there to watch later at a later date. If I don't, get somebody's live when they're doing it, I usually will watch it later down the road. So
yeah, I just been doing more of them because I've been having fun with it.
Yep.
So I don't want anybody thinking, "Oh crap, there's another one I gotta watch."
Yep, for sure. All right, man. Everybody saying good night. Good night, Ken. Good night, Den. Good night, two guys. Good night, Herbert. Good night, Adventures with Ken. I appreciate all of you guys, and hopefully you guys have a good week. And I will see you, Randy, Wednesday morning.
Yep. 10 o'clock.
Have a good night, everyone. God bless everybody.
See ya.
Yep.
Bye.
Good night.